During the last couple of decades, we've been witnessing an amazing growth of the Korean manufacturer that, along with sister company Hyundai, became one of the major automakers in the world. Once a contemptuously treated brand, Kia is now among leaders in pretty much every segment of the industry. So it's a little surprising that it hasn't entered the pickup market yet. Well, that changes with the all-new 2025 Kia Tasman, which is ready to shake up the market and challenge segment leaders who took their positions long ago. Can the Tasman really disturb the existing order? It's early to say, but judging from what we've seen so far, there are many reasons to feel optimistic. Kia has been testing the new pickup for a while, and we already saw that the company is preparing its pickup for every scenario. We saw the test mule in various environments, on different terrains, in different parts of the world, doing different tasks. Kia engineers have been so dedicated that they even took their mule for a ride along with the Ranger and checked what exactly their new pickup is capable of. Kia doesn't hide its big expectations from the Tasman, and according to the officials, the primary task is the Australian launch, though there are rumors about coming to North America as well. We'll talk about that later in the video, but first, let's see what kind of a pickup the Tasman is going to be. Before that, make sure to check out other videos on our channel. We're pretty sure you'll find a lot of interesting ones. Genuine pickup truck. The answer is simple. It'll be a genuine pickup. For a while, we were afraid that the Tasman would follow in the steps of the Hyundai Santa Cruz, a crossover-based unibody pickup that puts focus on comfort rather than utility. Thankfully, that's not going to happen. Kia is preparing a true body-on-frame pickup truck with hard tasks and utility in mind, a design we've seen from Kia so far. Although the officials still hide most details about the new Tasman, they assured us that there will be no compromises regarding the pickup's capabilities. 3.5 tons of max towing capacity and 1 ton of payload capacity. In other words, it'll meet the high standards of the segment set by market leaders. Besides words from the officials, we already learned a lot from those numerous test drives that have been caught on cameras. During these test sessions, we got a chance to take a better look at the suspension setup, and we noticed a pretty interesting thing. The first time we got a chance to see what's underneath, the Tasman featured a typical setup, with leaf springs on the rear end, promising uncompromised towing and payload capabilities. But then, in one of the following test rides, we saw something completely different: a coil spring rear suspension. Does this mean that the company is preparing a comfort-oriented variant too? Or maybe this is going to be a dedicated off-roader? Could it be that the company is yet to make the final decision about the rear suspension setup, or both of them are going to be on offer? As you can see, there aren't too many questions at the moment, so let's focus on something more obvious, something clearer and easier to understand. Exterior design. The Tasman's test mule went through several phases during the last several months of testing. Of course, the initial versions were completely camouflaged with a massive black cover. Then, the new type of camo came with flower motifs that hide specific details of the front-end design but gave us a clear look at the overall shape. And it's easy to see that the Tasman will try to stand out with a little bit different design approach. This primarily refers to the front-end design where, despite the camouflage, we can easily see that things are going to look a little bit unconventional, with a boxy, upright grille and vertical bars, combined with headlights that seem to be taking inspiration from the Telluride and other models that Kia has been launching lately. Even more dramatic are those massive black wheel arches on the side, which clearly accentuate the model's rugged nature. Still, if we put these unconventional details aside, this is still a pretty conventional pickup with proportions similar to other mid-size pickups on the market. After all, the test model had one of its rides alongside the new Ford Ranger when we learned that the two models feature pretty similar sizes. It appears that the Tasman features a slightly shorter wheelbase, but other than that, it was hard to spot a substantial difference. So far, we saw a test model with the crew cab layout, which may turn out to be the only version on offer, though we won't exclude the possibility of seeing a single or extended cab version with a longer cargo bed even though the one on the crew cab model seems decently sized too. Powertrain, what are the options? To compete with rivals successfully, the all-new 2025 Kia Tasman will need a proper powertrain. And since the Tasman nameplate clearly suggests that Australia is going to be the primary market, it's clear that a decent diesel engine is a must. Plenty of low-end torque and good fuel economy are key requirements for the segment, and thankfully, Kia already has such an engine in its portfolio. The good old 2.2-liter turbo diesel has been in use for a long time and proved itself as a reliable and trustful unit. It's good for about 148 kilowatts and 440 newton meters, not exactly a match for the Hilux and Ranger's 500 newton meters, but still competitive enough, even if the company decides not to do any revisions on the engine that already powers a plethora of Kia and Hyundai SUVs. Along with the engine, there is the matter of transmission. Some sources speculate about a dual-clutch gearbox. That's something the Korean company has been doing a lot of lately, but we still think that a good old torque converter would be a better choice, considering the amount of torque and heavy exploitation in general. We presume it could be something with 8 or more gears, which would send power to the rear axle, while the 4-wheel drive would be offered as an option, along with potential off-road upgrades, which we'll talk about in a moment. But first, let's discuss other powertrain possibilities. While the North American arrival is still uncertain, we know that, besides Australia, the Tasman pickup will be sold in markets like South Africa and the Middle East, and while the former is also mostly about oil burners, the Middle East prefers gasoline, so we might see another engine option for this specific part of the world. Considering the pickup size and weight, that has to be something with 6 cylinders, most likely a 3.8-liter V6 from the Telluride, which puts out around 290 horsepower and has plenty of torque to ensure a seamless ride. But we also have sources claiming that Kia's pickup might go with a Turbo 4, which wouldn't be the first time to see it in this segment, as the Ford Ranger already has such gasoline powertrains on offer. Still, we're much closer to the first option. After all, this is still a pickup that competes in a class where reliability and durability still have an edge over efficiency and performance. Back to off-road performance. We believe that Kia could offer a dedicated off-roader as well. Could it be as capable as the Ranger Raptor, for example? It's hard to say, considering Kia's lack of experience in the field. Still, things can hardly go wrong if the Korean manufacturer does everything right and installs all those required off-road upgrades. We already talked about a 4-wheel drive system, which should be complemented by a couple of different drive modes, as well as low-range gearing. All-terrain tires, skid plates, and upgraded suspension also come to mind, as well as at least one locking differential. Interior design. What do we know about the Tasman's interior design at the moment? Well, not much, because the officials have been keeping most details a secret so far. Even the spy shots don't show much, considering that most of the interior is still under camouflage, but some things can be predicted with a high dose of certainty. After all, we know for sure that the crew cab version is coming, so we may assume there will be enough passenger room in the second row with easy access thanks to full-size rear doors. Furthermore, we saw that the overall dimensions are pretty close to the new Ford Ranger, so that crew cab model will probably feature a cargo bed that's around 1.5 meters long. For the American public, that would be around 5 feet, which seems quite typical for a mid-size crew cab pickup. Of course, versions with longer beds could be available too, if the company decides to offer a single or extended cab version as well. The officials are yet to provide some clarification on this matter. Anyway, spy photographs have managed to take a couple of shots of the interior, but unfortunately, Kia still uses camouflage extensively. Most of the dashboard is still covered, just like the surrounding areas are. On the other hand, the test mule did show a couple of fancy details, suggesting that more upscale variants are going to be on offer too. For example, we saw a nice mix of leather and cloth upholstery, which isn't something you would expect from an entry-level work-oriented pickup. Along with nice materials, we assume that higher grades will also come equipped with the latest tech and convenience features, while the dashboard may utilize some of Kia's contemporary design bits, maybe even a curved panel that integrates instrument and infotainment screens in range-topping variants. On the other hand, the new pickup will feature a classic gear lever instead of some fancy rotary selector or something like that, as that's one of the rare things we were able to see through all that camouflage. Release date and price. According to the latest info, the brand new Kia Tasman will debut on the domestic market first. The main market, the Down Under, will follow soon enough, and the latest report suggests the first half of 2025, and then the Tasman should proceed to other important markets such as South Africa and the Middle East. As for the North American launch, things are still pretty unclear. One of the test mules has been taking its rides across America for a while, but we still don't know the real plans. It may be that Kia has been testing the new pickup in this part of the world just to avoid expensive fines for reckless off-road rides over Australia. But the thing is that to sell the Tasman in America would require establishing a production line in that part of the world due to hefty import taxes. Anyway, let's focus on the Australian market for now, where the Tasman may use attractive pricing as a tool for stealing some of Hilux and the Ranger customers. With that in mind, some experts believe that the crew cab four-wheel drive Tasman could start at around 45,000 Australian dollars, notably cheaper than the highly reputable competition. What do you think of the 2025 Kia Tasman? Can Kia become a prominent player in the pickup segment? Let us know your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.